Once upon a time, there was an empire that was declining due to discrimination, infighting, extravagant spending, inflation, and rebellion. Mongolian nobles were favored, while the Han Chinese were oppressed in the Yuan dynasty. Members of the royal family were scrambling for power and living extravagantly. More taxes and paper money resulted in a serious inflation. Rural distress and populist resentment acquired militant elements. Miracles and apparitions were reported. A new age of universal redemption was coming, and with it, a new direction for the Yuan Empire was taking place. Members of cells and secret societies armed and organized themselves for action. Beliefs in a purifying transformation, instant enlightenment, predictions and responses to weird weather patterns, epidemics, and natural phenomena were prevalent. The red turbans attracted the disillusioned, comforted the afflicted, covered criminals, and raised expectations of a new social order that excluded Mongol rule. Local interests everywhere mobilized their own militias and acted unilaterally. Only imperial troops within and around the great metropolitan province could be counted on. Military contingents elsewhere were lazy, poorly paid, and open to offers. Zhu Yuanzhang, a penniless orphan from Anhui, who had barely survived famine, plague, and the grimace of childhoods to acquire some basic literacy as a Buddhist monk, joined the Red Turbans. Although he was ugly, ignorant, and without a family, he was a good listener, quick learner, firm disciplinarian, and fearless leader. He gathered a growing band of followers, including scholars and troops, and captured Nanjing, which became his stronghold. His steep rise in power was matched by his learning experience, literary proficiency, and knowledge of history, strategy, and governance. His greatest challenge came in the form of the greatest land battle ever fought, in an epic 4-day battle with a neighboring warlord. Zhu, with 1,000 ships and 100,000 men, went head-on with his opponent with more men and taller ships. Strong winds blew, arrows flew, fires blazed, and clashing swords rang for hours. Eventually, Zhu became victorious, and his armies and navies swelled. Hunan, Hubei, Zhejiang, and Jiangsu fell to his regime. Zhu proclaimed that the Yuan had deserted the norms of conduct. The time had arrived. Heaven despised them and no longer sustained their rule. After declaring his dynasty as the Great Ming, which meant brilliance, he entered Beijing with minimal resistance, both as a Chinese emperor and a man of the people. This concludes the birth of a dynasty, my original, creative, non-fiction story. I hope you had enjoyed listening to my story just as I had enjoyed preparing this story for your enjoyment. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.